hotline, and let's bring in the head coach of the state-ranked and unbeaten Coleman Blue Cats out there in Coleman County. We are joined by head coach John Elder. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
I'm excellent. How are things in beautiful Coleman, Texas?
They're going good, and just trying to stay healthy and get along.
Stay healthy and get along. You guys have been able to do so far. Off to a 3-0 start to start this year. And I'm interested. This has been you guys have obviously come out of the gates hot. Considering your non-district schedule, especially that season opener against Mason, I'm interested if the expectation was that right now, going into week 4, you guys would be sitting at 3-0.
Well, we didn't know what to expect. With Mason, and we dodged a bullet there for sure on the road. First game of the year. I felt we were going to be able to compete with these bigger schools. We were out a couple of kids that didn't get to come out, but we're kind of short on numbers and depth on that varsity team anyway. And so playing the bigger schools, I thought maybe that would be a factor. But we've been able to stay healthy through those games and finish, with most of our starters in every one. So, we're carrying 22. We're traveling 22 this year, and that's just it is what it is right now. But getting out of Mason alive that first week was huge, and being able to put up some good numbers on offense and our defense being stingy the last couple of weeks is kind of put us in this position.
Life in 2A football, traveling 22. That's the way of the world in that part. I want to ask you kind of about the bigger picture. Before last year, the kind of 3 years preceding that, it was kind of bobbing along around 500. But in the last couple of years, you guys have really caught fire. You guys have now, between last year's 11-2, 12-1 mark, and then now off to this 3-0 start, you guys have really put together a couple of really outstanding seasons. What do you think has been the biggest difference between what you're seeing right now and maybe, the past where it was a little bit tougher sledding?
Right, and 2A football, like we talked about, with the numbers, but it's a roller coaster in a small town. I've been the head coach here, blessed to be head coach here for 9 years. The first 3 years we won 30 plus games, and went to the second round, third round twice, and then we had a couple of down years. Then that last one of that, we were in, then COVID hit. We had to forfeit the last district game and let somebody else take our spot. But we started climbing back then 2 years ago, and then we didn't. We knew we were going to be pretty good last year. We didn't expect, to go 10-0, but the way the guys come along and gel together, and to have most of those guys back this year, more mature, junior, senior heavy, is very important at this point in time. So the expectations, for everybody, the kids, the coaches, and everything is, we lost a heartbreaker last year in the third round to Holly, who went on to the state championship, and kind of got a chip on our shoulder now. We still got more to prove. We're still hungry for it. The kids are energetic, and we think we're here to stay for a while.
Talking with John Elder, the head coach of the Coleman Blue Cats here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation, #TF Today. Coach, I do want to ask you about your defense. Defense has been really strong to start the year. Especially starting with those first couple of games, the 7-6 win over Mason, and then shutting out rival Ballinger, which I know is a big deal in that part of the world. What has been really for you, and it kind of goes back to last year as well, where your defense was so strong. What has worked for you guys defensively that has you guys playing so well?
Well, Coach Thompson, him and Coach Edwards on that side of the ball, they get together with secondary linebackers and D-line, but having experience on that side of the ball and coming back and not having to reteach, so much at the beginning of the year, where you can kind of, move some things around, and kids, you don't blow the kids' mind as much. So being able to know what situation they're in, their assignment, and being able to execute that, not blowing coverages, as some young football team, players do. They go out there and get lost in some different formations and motion, might get you lost and leave a kid wide open. We haven't done that. Maybe a couple of times, but for the most part, they know their assignment. They're physical. Our D-line is very physical and athletic. They can run sideline to sideline, and it's just I think just a maturity level, and having most of the kids that have played in those big games before on that side of the ball.
It's hard not to notice what your junior quarterback Jaden Jackson is doing. I know last year he made a really nice step. Big reason why you guys were able to go run off that unbeaten regular season. But it seems like in the early going here, he's taken an even bigger step, towards being that guy on your offense. The numbers are impressive, but as the guy who sees him every day in practice and in the locker room, what is it about your quarterback, Jaden Jackson, that really sets him apart?
Well, yeah, I mean, Jaden, last year he got a little reckless in sometimes as a sophomore quarterback, but he's still, athletic enough to do some dynamic things that, some busted plays, was able to make something big out of it. But he got a little reckless as a young man. I think now that he's matured a little bit, he's not as reckless as trying to get the ball out of his hand, not taking the big hit, throwing it away when it's time to throw away, and know when and we can't take a sack or anything. But his maturity level, has gone up a little bit. He takes a little more responsibility on as being a little older too. So the kids rally around him. I mean, he's a fun kid to be around. He's a fun kid to coach. He's a good teammate. And so, he's still got a lot left, and we're looking forward to watching him play the rest of this one.
Enough of the skill guys, though. Let's talk about the real stars of the show. Let's talk about the offensive line, which I think has been a real key to you guys' hot start, and it obviously was great last year. I know you guys brought back a couple guys you're really excited about, and guys like Garrett Smith and David Navarro. Has the offensive line lived up to what you were hoping it would be so far?
Yeah, we lost two big linemen off there, Gus Allen and Jared Fain last year. But we got some new kids step up. Oscar Camacho coming at center, Erasmo's coming in at the left guard. George Silas is a returner on that, and then he's hard to handle. They gel together, and again, it's important. I mean, you're almost famous if you're a lineman in Coleman, Texas. I mean, if your fingers don't look like Cheetos, you're not cool. So I mean, these guys, they go to battle. They're warriors. The leadership, David Navarro and Garrett Smith as the seniors on that thing, and have just tremendously helped develop these younger kids. And so, the guys that go on scout team, I mean, they get to go against a couple All-Staters every day. It makes us, better up and down the program.
Talking with John Elder of Coleman here on Texas Football Today. Coach, you are the longest tenured coach in Coleman history. Believe it or not, the program's been around for 112 years. But in your 9th year, you're the longest tenured coach in Coleman history. I'm interested. Why Coleman? What is it about this program in this town in this community that has you sticking around?
Yeah, well, I grew up 20 miles east of here in Bangs, and so it's kind of home. We moved back. That's the longest I've ever been anywhere. I mean, we stayed in Harker Heights a few years. Then I was down in Lavernia, and we came back when we started a family. My wife's from Hamlin, and I was from Banks, so it was a good place to get back home. And then we just fell in love with the community. After 3 years, I became the head coach. Nothing changed. I mean, our kids we have 3 kids. They go to school here. They love it. And so we made some lifelong friends. Didn't feel like we needed to leave. Didn't have the urge to leave. So, we're Blue Cats now, and we're glad to be.
Yeah, well, I know that the folks around Coleman are glad you are as well. Finally, Coach, you got a big game coming up tomorrow night, 7:00 there at Llano Stadium in Llano, Texas, as you will draw a fellow state-ranked unbeaten in the Llano Yellow Jackets. I'm not going to ask you to give away your game plan here on the air, but when you take a look at what you're up against tomorrow night against Llano, what do you see?
Well, I mean, the eye test first. I mean, they got a lot of size. We can tell that they're athletic on the backside of that in the secondary. They play a good assignment football. We noticed that, they don't have any offensive or defensive linemen going both ways. The offensive skill, the quarterback, makes great decisions. He can run the ball as well, throws a good ball. Their line is sound. It's going to be a physical game. I know Coach Green. We went to college together, so him being a bigger school, there's no way he would let his team overlook anybody. And we know that they got their head down and eyes forward towards us, and us the same at them. I'm looking for a physical football game on both sides of the ball from both teams. I think the difference could be, you never want it to happen to you, but that yellow flag's going to hit the ground sometime, and you never know when and where, what situation it is, and always seems to be in the worst time. And what we've got to clean up is the penalties we've had in the last 3 weeks. So we've got to limit that on the road, going to a bigger school and hostile environment, and it's going to be a great test for us. It's going to make us better, regardless of the outcome. And I'm just looking forward. We're looking forward to it all the way around.
It's going to be a brawl down there in Llano as the Coleman Blue Cats take on the Llano Yellow Jackets and the head coach John Elder of the Coleman Blue Cats. Coach, we appreciate your time. Congratulations again on such a great start, and best of luck tomorrow night against Llano.
You bet. Y'all have a good day.
Absolutely. There he goes, John Elder, head coach of the Coleman Blue Cats, joining us here. Texas football today. I love that line about the linemen.
Cheetos, if your
fingers don't look like Cheetos.
But yeah, no, so he grew up in Bangs, and then Coach Green grew up in Brownwood, so they used to play baseball against each other growing up, and then they were teammates at Howard Payne.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so not only did they go to college together, but they were on the same baseball team over there at Howard Payne, so they know each other really well.
There's a noticeable size difference, in the schools here.
Yes.
So, because this is 2A Division I Coleman taking on 3A Division I Llano. Coleman has an enrollment of 207. Llano has an enrollment, I want to say, around 500. Is that right? Does that sound right? 505 is what they turn into the UIL. Okay. So you're talking about, significantly larger, 1.5 times the size essentially. So it'll be a test for Coleman. But again, this is one of those games that if they can go in, and this is the final non-district tune-up for Llano before they go in here, but if they can go in there and contend and compete, it's a final non-district game for them as well. Then they go into a tough district because they're going to have to play Toller and San Saba in consecutive weeks in week 6 and week 7. They do that, then it's this game against Llano is really going to test them, challenge them in that way. So I'm sorry, it's so funny. You talk with 6A coaches and about their programs, and it's like they don't even understand the challenge of we're traveling 22,
right?
Traveling 22 kids to go to a game.
Well, and that's the biggest thing is Coleman is going to have to really come out good in the first quarter. Jaden Jackson is a really good player, so if Llano holds him down, then I don't think that there's any worry for the Yellow Jackets. But if Jaden Jackson gets going in that first half, that's where it gets dicey. But Coleman has to hit hard in the first half.
Because the later it goes, the depth is going to be.
Yeah, you've got guys playing on the lines on both sides of the ball. That's hard to compete at that point.
No, you're exactly right. Should be a fun game down there in Llano, Texas. We appreciate
Ish
Coleman.
is going.
Oh, there you go. We appreciate Coach John Elder of Coleman hopping on with us.
Thanks so much for watching that video. If you would like more and to be notified when they come out, go ahead and click that subscribe button right down there. You can also watch Texas Football Today every day live at noon on TexasFootball.com, Facebook, Twitch, and right here on YouTube. For more of the best coverage of Texas football in the Lone Star State, go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe.